Alright, so start by deleting the cube, camera and light, and we're going to add a plane, just a plain old plane, going to make it 20 meters, sounds about right. Yes, edit mode, subdivide, how many times? 10 times, no, more than 10 times. Another, make it 5 times, because division is hard, even for my computer. So we'll just leave it at that. And now for the fun part, gonna get a modifier. The displace modifier. Now it's gonna sample a texture. What kind of texture? Well, it's got to be, click here. Okay, now we can choose. It's going to be clouds. What kind of clouds? The cell noise kind of clouds. It's like, it's noise, but it's square noise, because it is indeed hip to be square. Well, we can make it more hip. We scroll down a bit. And yeah, let's play with the contrast. Yeah. Yeah. Up the contrast a bit. See, is it worth playing with the brightness at all? Maybe. So you don't have to use my numbers. You can use your own numbers. Play with these numbers until you get something that looks right. I think this looks right, so I'm happy with this. So I think the next thing to do is to apply the modifier. So now that's part of the mesh. What's the next step? I think I'm going to smooth out all of this. Not with a smooth modifier, but with the subdivision surface modifier. My. Look how buttery smooth that is. Now I'm going to apply that. And, you know, it's hilly, but it's very square and hilly. I'm going to add another displace modifier. Make sure the direction's in the Z direction. Now, for this time, it's going to be another cloud texture, but the noise this time is going to be Voronoi crackle. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but going to make it nice and big. Okay, that looks ugly. Let's make it less ugly. Up the contrast. Yeah. Maybe up the brightness a bit. Because, yeah, as you can see, it creates these canyons, I suppose. Just up the brightness so I can... Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Nearly. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Alright. What's the next step? I suppose I best just apply the modifier. Did I apply the modifier? I'm recording this after I've recorded the other thing. I'm recording the audio after the video because reasons. So yeah, applied the modifier. Yeah, so for context, I've already created the island that I'm using in the game. I'm just repeating the steps I did previously. Not because I need another island, it's more I want to build up that muscle memory. That being said, it is evident my muscle memory still needs work because I've forgotten a step. Because when I go to scale down all these selected vertices, as it turns out, there's some vertices not selected. Well, that's not good. I should have that's right, turned on the X-ray doobly-doo, select all the actual vertices I need, and let's scale them down. So this is basically like the bottoms of the the canyons that are generated. Yeah, if that makes sense. I just remember this was something we did, so I'm like, well, I'll do it again for this island thing. So, oh, let's turn off X-ray. Yeah, that's what the bottoms look like now. It's very pointy. So, to resolve all this horrible pointiness, I'll add another modifier, a subsurface modifier. Sorry, subdivision surface modifier. Okay, there we go. Yeah, much more subdivided. So yeah, I think I'm going to apply this. But before I do any more subdivision stuff, this is a good time to calm down and maybe unsubdivide for a bit. Oh goodness me, that's at least 1 million faces. Yeah, I can't even imagine 1 million faces. Can't even imagine many faces. Here we go. I mean, that still looks all right. Because that's the thing, it still maintains the shape, the smoothness of what we did before, but with just less faces, and that's more performant. The PC, it's not going to be complaining as much. Mind you, that's no guarantee. Blender can do anything really. I mean, that's the thing. You can just subdivide, decimate. I wonder why it is called decimate, because it's not like it specifically does like 1/10 of faces or oh, I don't know. Anyway, what was the next step? Ah, yes, another displacement. Because here's the thing, I've done two passes of displacement, but I think the thing that really makes it is a third displacement, where again it's gonna be cloud. We're gonna sample some clouds. Here we go. But this time it's just gonna be the regular clouds. Well, that's no good. That's right. I'm gonna bring the scale all the way up to its maximum. That's not the maximum. That's the maximum. There we go. No, that's quite something. Again, I'm gonna bring up the contrasts. Oh yeah, look at that. Got real peaks, real valleys, real oh it's really getting that Breath of the Wilds, like, you get to the top of a mountain and you spot a thing, you go down the mountain, you spot another mountain. Like what I'm going for with this terrain is to make it so that you can never see the entire map, no matter where you're standing on the map, to therefore encourage you to explore more of the map. Because every time you go over a hill, guess what? There's another hill. And it's only if you get really, really high that you notice the island is entirely square. So the next step, I've added another plane, and this isn't that important. What it does is it helps to indicate for me where I think the sea level should be. So that's right. I'm going to move this down and I'm just make it so that if I can see rivers and something, then that's where I'll put it. So put it, yeah, that looks good. Don't want to put it too high, don't want to put it too low. Gotta get it just right. Of course, just right for you will be however you want it. This is how I want it, so that's what I'm doing. All right, the next step. So I think I only figured this out recently, but the edges of the island are not ideal. Like, who goes to a beach that looks like this? I don't. So, got to select the edge loops, and that will select the entire perimeter of the the island is very good because I'm now going to scale it all the way down vertically. That is. So on the in Blender, it's the Z-axis. Just scale it all the way down to 0. Now, problem with this is that it doesn't look good until we enable proportional editing. So it still doesn't look good yet, but there's one more thing we need to do, and that's to adjust the proportional size. Now, of course, we're selecting quite a bit of the island at this time, so if the PC chugs, just fingers crossed, pray, do whatever you or your PC needs to do to cope. And yeah, look at that. That looks all right. Of course, the problem with this is that, well, how and why is the beach, the perimeter of this island, above sea level? That don't make no sense. What did I do here? Oh yeah, I need to set it to 8. Or at least that's what I decided to do. Oh yeah, look at that. Only one more thing to do. I've got to move the edges to the bottom. Oh dear. I mean, you wanted a wall, you got a wall. Actually, I don't want a wall. I want to, again, I want to set it to, it's definitely got to be below sea level. There you go. 1.5. There you go. Enable proportional editing. There you go. Oh, doesn't that look lovely? Well, we're in Blender and we've not added any materials. So no, it doesn't look lovely, but I think it's getting there. And you know what? I think we're only halfway. Oh, goodness me, we are definitely not halfway. This is 12, nearly 13 minutes in. All right, what did I do next? Yeah, object modes. If I recall, this is the part where I start applying textures to the thing. So, yeah, let's just admire this handiwork for a moment. Very nice. It looks good. Okay, past me. What's next? Here we go. Oh, yes. So that's right. So before we go ahead and apply, no, maybe I am applying textures. What the fuck am I doing? Oh, yeah. So image textures. So yeah, I've gone ahead and I've created a material. I've set the base color to an image texture of the ground. We cannot see this, however, and I will realize it soon enough. But before I do anything, I think I'll go into edit mode, select everything, and I'm just going to assign the material. So having assigned it, I'm going to go hop back into object mode. It's still white. It's not green. Why is this? Aha, this is because, there we go. Oh, goodness me, look at that. So it is green, but that just doesn't look very good, does it? That's because I need to do some UV editing. Now, head to the UV editing tab. And yeah, first time looking at this, yeah, it doesn't look all that appealing. No worries. All I need to do is UV cube projection. There we go. What is cube projection? No idea. As Todd Howard once says, it just works. Now in this window here, that's better. That's useful because I can then select everything here And I can do what I really want to do, which is just to scale this all up. There we go. Yeah, that texture needs to be smaller, and therefore the UV map needs to be bigger, loads bigger. Yeah. I, yeah. How does that look? That looks all right. Yeah, good enough. So now that we got some nice grassy hills, what's next? Well, we can't have everything green. It might be an idea to either create more materials or whatever it is I decided to do next. What did I decide to do? Oh, yeah. I want to reduce the roughness because grass is. I've never known grass to be that shiny. Or maybe my grass isn't that shiny. And that's just the way I like it. If you want shiny grass, go for it. You know, you don't have to make things realistic. Real life hurts. We're making art, debatably. Um, so yeah, when I stop looking at this, I think it might be time to be getting on with other things. So what do I do next? That's right, edit mode. What's next in edit mode? Oh yes, if I recall what I was trying to do earlier, I was trying to find like the flattest part of the map. That wasn't happening, so I just chose this. So I select a face, a flattish face, and I select similar, normal. So that will select other faces that are also facing upwards. So it's kind of done that, but it's not enough. I'm going to increase the threshold so more faces get selected. Yeah, that's looking. Oh, okay, that might be a bit too much. Yeah, because what I'm basically trying to do here is I'm trying to identify the parts of the map where I would expect trees and things to grow. Because, like, I don't know about you, I don't think trees grow on hills, like really steep hills or mountains and stuff. Maybe they do, but I think for the design of my game, or at least this map, which I'm going to put in my game, it'd make more sense to put the trees and obstacles onto flatter parts of the map because then that kind of basically indicates which are the flat parts versus what are the steep parts. Because, not gonna lie, the steep parts is where the game gets fun, just going up and down those slopes. So you're naturally avoiding the trees, naturally avoiding the flat parts in order to go up and down the slopes. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for here. So, by inverting the selection, I've assigned the flat parts to its own vertex group, and now I'm assigning the steep parts to its own vertex group. So now if I go ahead and select none, but then I go ahead and select this and select the select button, it selects the flat parts. Eventually the words are going to become meaningless the more times I repeat them. But until then, I'm going to keep repeating myself because, what else can I possibly say? If only I had a thesaurus, then I'd have to feed him. What do thesauruses eat anyway? Like, if we imagine the thesaurus was indeed a dinosaur and not a useful book that one used to have in school before, I don't know, phones were invented, specifically smartphones. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm selecting the undersea parts, the underwater parts of this island. Problem is, however, I cannot for the life of me quite see where the hell I've put the plane to indicate the sea level. So I'm just like, Nope, that still doesn't look right. And of course, you've got to remember to enable the oh boy, the X-ray thing. Yeah. So I'm just going to deselect this part. Let's see. Is that looking any better? Nope. Still a bit left to go. Oh, what? I thought I had it. Never mind. Try again. Maybe. I mean, I like it. So well, that's the thing. It, at the end of the day, the end product, it all depends on your own standards. So if you're struggling, sometimes might be best just to manage your standards, manage your expectations. So yeah, so what I've done is I think I've removed the undersea parts from the steep ground. So now when selecting it, it shouldn't select the underwater parts, which will be useful because reasons that will become apparent later. See, if I told you now, you wouldn't be wondering those reasons. You might be wondering what I'm doing now. Don't worry, I'll explain right now. I'm selecting the peaks of this island. So, because I think it's useful to make a visual distinction between the bottom parts of the island, the top parts of the island, so that when you are traveling around the island, it's more obvious. You can get, your bearings more easily. And of course, chances are you might want to travel to the very tippy top of a mountain. So if you see the mountains starting to get more whiter and snowier, it's like, oh, I've reached the top of the mountain. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. So just going to assign that. Now, trouble is that, oh yeah, the flat ground vertex groups is not properly configured because what I want is, for one thing, I don't want it to have the undersea. But the problem is if I just deselect it and then assign it, is that going to fix the vertex group? Guess what? It isn't. So here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to, well, did I try? I tried deselecting it. And I was like, wait, I did that before and it didn't work. So maybe the answer is to select the undersea part and then click remove. So then when I do go to select just the flat ground, aha, see, now the undersea part has been removed from the vertex group. Happy days. So what's next? Well, I suppose there is another way to do what I did there, because another thing I want to do is I want to remove the peaks of the island from the flat ground. But is that something I'm going to do now? No, I'll do that later. Damn, I spoiled what I was going to do later. Never mind. So I'm going to add a new material, and that is going to be the snow, probably. Let's see, did I go ahead and... Yeah, I did select the base color. So, yeah, I'm going to select an image texture of the snow, and that is going to be the basis for the snowy material. So yeah, that's right. Pop back into edit mode, because, I want to apply it to the peaks. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to select the peaks. Might be best if I select none first, and then select peaks. Yeah. It's a good thing I defined that vertex group earlier, because then I can go into materials and I can just assign it. So now if I hop back into object mode, there we go. Ah, look at those white mountainous peaks. Very snowy. So I think the next thing to do to define the sand, the nice, warm, sandy beaches. So yeah, what have I gone and done? I've gone ahead and I've assigned a sand texture, image texture. But first I need to go ahead and edit modes. I'm gonna select none, then select the undersea parts from the vertex groups. Very good. I can then, why did I go into object mode? I need edit mode. Remember, sometimes you need edit mode rather than object mode. I forget why. It's because Blender's rather complicated. Anyway, I'm going to assign the material. Sorry, I'm going to assign the faces to the material of the sand. So now we can see that well look, lots of sand underneath where the plane is. Very good. So you have an island. You've got green parts, you've got snowy parts, you've got sandy parts. But where are the trees? I may have mentioned earlier I was going to put trees on here. Don't you worry. With this particle system, I'm going to navigate here, and it's going to be hair. Now don't worry, I'm not going to add hair to this island. Although technically I suppose that's what grass is. You know, grass is a type of hair, isn't it? But yeah, I want to go ahead and import a tree. Not a very good looking tree on the basis that it has no color really. Hop into edit mode. I'm going to select just these faces. Maybe some more faces would be nice. There we go. So that's the trunk of the tree. I'm going to maybe select more faces. Never mind, I don't need to select more faces. I'm going to undo that. Happy days. So I'm going to go into material. I'm going to add a new material. New here, and that's going to be the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to assign the faces I've selected to that material, and I'm going to just change the color really. Going to make it select orange, darken it. That's brown. Looks brown to me. Can you believe that's wood? I believe it's woods. So the next thing I've got to do might be worth changing the color of the other material, because you could believe that's snow, but I'd rather make it nice and green. So let's see, scroll down, and what am I looking at? Oh yeah, that's right. So I've got to select surface, and I've got to select one of these. I think for our purposes, this one. Principled Buddhism, or whatever that's supposed to be. You know, I only know so much. And with Blender, it helps to know many, many things. My knowledge, however, is not so generous. Gonna up the roughness because, again, much like grass, I've never really known trees to be all that shiny. And the same for the wood, I'm gonna up the roughness on that. Yeah, that's a tree. I think it might be an idea to hop back into object modes. Let's see, let's take a look at our island. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we were going to add trees, weren't we? So gotta go to the particle system, and yeah, so select hair, advance, because there are additional options that we need. 1,000 trees, yeah, that sounds like a good number for now. We may adjust that later. Now for rotation, we want all the trees to be pointing, well, upwards, so global Z is the way to go. So source, emit from faces, yep, looks good. Let me just extend this out a bit. Now, we want to ensure that there's only one particle per face, because, goodness me, I don't want trees overlapping each other, you know, fighting for space. Mind you, if it does happen a little bit, that's kind of fine, but, like, if there's, like, two tree trunks neighboring together too closely, I'll be like, nah, please don't. Render, oh yeah, so under render, we want to render as collection, and this is basically where we get to choose what we want as the hair instead of hair. So I'm going to select trees. Now, the reason I've select collection is because later we're going to add, well, you can add more trees. It doesn't have to be trees. You can add any model that you like, really. But I'm going to add trees. Yeah, do we want object rotate? No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, so what's going to happen next? Goodness me. Oh yeah, use count. That is going to be useful for later. I promise. Problem is, however, we can see that many trees are being placed, under the sea, on top of mountains. Oh yeah, adjusting the hair length is another way to adjust how big the trees end up being. Which is useful because, oh yeah, here we go. So we're going to specify that we want the trees only on the flat ground. So as you can see, that at the moment includes, let's get rid of this, includes the mountain peaks, which it's not inaccurate, but I think for my purposes, I'm gonna make some adjustments so that doesn't happen. And to better demonstrate, yeah, 10,000 trees. As you can see, they are trees, but they're too samey. So at this point, maybe it's a good idea to add a bit of variety. Now, luckily, because we selected a collection earlier, we can go to our collection and we can, well, add more trees of varying colors. Is that what we're going to do now? No, it's not. We're going to make some adjustments to the vertex groups, which, to be fair, is probably a good idea. So yeah, as you can see, only some peaks are included in the background selection. So I think an idea here would be to, well, let's just see what we do here, or what I did here. This is past me. No, me speaking is present me, remarking on past me. Past me is an idiot, evidently. Because, of course, I'm seeing this. Present me thinking, what was I thinking? Surely I should know what I was thinking. But maybe my memory isn't what it used to be. But then again, how would I remember how my memory used to be? Surely I would forget. Evidently, I have forgotten. Anyway, somehow, flat ground is now sorted, which is good. So, oh, that's right. So, remember earlier I was going on about how we only want one particle per face? Well, to mitigate trees being placed close to each other, we can unsubdivide the places where we know the trees are going to be, i.e. the flat ground. So doing so, there you go. I can almost guarantee that the trees are now not going to be bumping into each other. I have, however, noticed the trees are underwater. That's an impressive tree to be surviving underwater. However, it has no place in my game. I don't want underwater tree. Can I not say tree? Strange. So, let's sort out this vertex group. Flat ground, select. Okay, we're just going to remove, and then we're going to deselect, and then we're going to assign. There we go. So now if we go back to selecting it again, yeah, that looks good to me. So I think maybe it's a good idea to go back into object mode. Here we go. Now let's have a look at those trees. There's none underwater, and there are none at the peaks. They are all exactly where they're supposed to be. Very, very good. However, I may need to adjust the fact that they all look the same. And of course, as we all know, variety is indeed the spice of life. So, shall we randomize the rotation? Nope, let's not do that. Because we want them oriented upwards, don't we? So let's just forget that. Instead, we want to randomize the size. Oh, where is it? I can't see anything. I probably, future me is seeing it now, but past me is like, where is it? I can't see it. Here it is. Scale randomness. Gonna put 0.5. So there you go. Got a little bit of variety of sizes, which is, yeah, that's a bit better, but just a little bit. You know, it's all just visual noise, really. That's all I really want here. But to make it even more visually noisy, I think adding more trees is an idea. So, easiest way to do that, gonna duplicate the object like that. There we go. I've made another tree. It's the exact same tree as before, but we're gonna make it not exactly same by adjusting the material. Clicking here, we get a duplicate of the material and we can change it. So I'm just going to make it a darker green. And as you can see, as I adjust it, some of the trees are actually updating in the particle system. That's nice. And we can keep doing this. We can just make another tree. It would help if I hid the other tree from view as I did this. Because if I go ahead and do the same here, where I adjust the colors, yeah, I'm seeing it being applied to the particle, but not the tree I'm looking at. That's because I haven't hidden the other one. Oh dear. It's been half an hour of me rambling about me making this island, texturing this island, populating it with trees. Do I feel like, you know, some kind of artist, 3D artist? Eh. I mean, I'm just trying to put something together, aren't I, for my game? I'm no Bob Ross. But then again, could Bob Ross do this? Maybe. I think if Bob Ross really wanted to, he could probably learn to do what I'm doing here. Because a lot of what I'm doing here is stuff I've, again, learned just by watching what other people have done online. Just finding videos, trying to explain where the buttons are, and a little bit of experimentation, really, because as you can see, I'm still struggling to find the thing to do with, here we go, render. That's what I'm looking for. Use count. I remember I said earlier we were going to play with this. So what this does, it controls how often each object in the collection gets used. So I basically want the very last tree, I don't want it to appear as often, but the others I want to appear very often. So I specified a use count of 6, 7, and 8. So yeah,